this video for Computer Science 9618, we're going to take a look at a past paper 4 question. This one's dealing with the abstract data type stacks and including a file. So let's go ahead and take a look at this question. One source file is used to answer question 1. The file is called stackdata.txt. So we have a source file. Now, if you've never taken a paper 4 exam, it is your examiner's responsibility or your test proctor's responsibility to make sure that you have these source files, such as this one, stackdata.txt, before the exam begins. It shouldn't be given to you while the exam's going on. You're only given 2.5 hours, and while that sounds like a really long time, it does go by rather quickly. So make sure they give you all the source files that you're going to need. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one. A program stores lowercase letters into stacks. So I want to pay attention that it says lowercase letters. So I'm going to need to convert any input to lowercase to handle that. One stack stores vowels, so all the vowels that we have. One stack stores consonants, letters that are not vowels. Each stack is implemented as a 1D array. So I know I have 2 stacks, one for the vowels, one for the consonants. Write program code to declare 2 1D global arrays. So they want to call one stack vowel, one stack consonant, and they want them to be global, and there are 2 separate ones. So that's pretty easy. We can do that. Each array needs to store up to 100 letters. The index of the first element in each array is 0. So I have to include 0 whether I want to or not. Most of the time we omit index 0 just because it's easier to keep track of all the indexes. We're not allowed to do it this time. We have to include index 0, so that's going to affect our max index that we use. So let's swing over to VB and let's code this out. So these 2 arrays are outside submain, and the reason they're outside submain is because they said they want them to be global. So I'm going to do stack val. Now, I want my max index to be 99. That's not really an option. Usually we can do 99 or 100, but they tell us that index 0 is going to be the first item in the stack. So that we have to include index 0. When I count 0 to 99, that's 100 indices. Now, we're going to do that as a char because it's going to hold one letter. It's going to either hold a vowel or a consonant. The next one we need are the stacks for the consonants, and that's going to be 99 as well because we're including 0, and that's going to be of the character data type. Just like that, we picked up 2 points on that paper 4 exam. Let's swing back over and take a look at the next part of the question. The global variable val_top is a pointer that stores the index of the next free space in stack val. The global variable consonant top is a pointer that stores the index of the next free space in stack consonant. Val top and consonant top are both initialized to 0. Write program code to declare and initialize the 2 variables. So I need to know what is the purpose of these pointers. Well, they're going to store the index of the next free space. I also want to review my question and notice both of these are global variables. If you do not write them in the correct place, they could be declared perfectly, but if they're not in the right place, you're going to miss out on an easy point. Also, anytime you create an integer in a wide range of languages, most of the time the default value is going to be 0. Here Cambridge says they want you to initialize both of them to 0. So let's swing over to VB and take a look at how to declare these and simply initialize them with the starting value of 0. All right, so we're just going to tack on to the global variables we already have. So the first one is going to be val top. That's going to be an integer. How do I initialize it to 0? Just like that. We're done. And then I'm just going to do the same one for consonant top as an integer. And that's also going to be set to 0. Just like that, we're done. We've already picked up 3 points on our paper 4 exam. Let's swing back over and take a look at the next part they want us to do. The procedure push data takes one letter as a parameter. Now that procedure word is very important. We know it's not going to return anything, so this means it's going to be a sub, not a function. If the parameter is a vowel, it's pushed onto stack val, so we add it to the array and the irrelevant pointer is updated. Remember, those pointers point to the next free index. If the stack is full, a suitable message is output. So we have 2 if statements here. So this is simply going to be some if statements. If the parameter is a consonant, it is pushed onto stack consonant. The relevant pointer is updated. If the stack is full, a suitable message is output. So we're going to have a series of if statements here, nothing we can't handle. And then it's nice because they tell us we don't need to validate the parameter that it is a letter. So we don't have to check to see if it is letter or that it's not a number. We can simply just assume that they're going to input the right data. So let's swing over to VB and let's write program code for push data and pick up 6 points. All right, so we have our procedure push data. We're accepting letter as a parameter, and it's of the character data type because we are dealing with single letters here. Now, you may be tempted to do this, and you can do this. If letter is A or letter equals E, you can type all that out, or you can simply use case statements, which allow you to do a range and multiple things. Let me show you. So we can do select case letter, and maybe the case is A, E, because it's the same for all of these. I, for all the vowels anyway, O, U. If it's that case, then there's something I want to do. The first thing before I add it to the stack, I want to make sure there's room in the stack. Well, how do I know if there's room in the stack? Well, I want to see if val top, that stack pointer, is equal to 100. Because if it's equal to 100, that means index 99 has already been used and there's no room for it. So then if that's the case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to output a suitable message. I'm going to say the stack for vowels is full, meaning it's already there. Now that's one possibility, and another possibility is that the val top doesn't equal 100, so I can simply use an else statement here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do stack val, and where am I putting this letter? Wherever the val top is, because remember, the val top points to the next free index in the stack. What am I putting there? I'm putting the letter. Don't forget, we said anytime an item is pushed, the pointers are updated. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to update that pointer, val top plus equals 1. So that will be that for the vowels. Now, what about the consonants? Well, if it's not A, E, I, O, or U, we know it's a consonant. So I'm going to use case else. I'm going to check to see, is there room in the consonant stack? So if consonant top equals 100, not 1200, 100, then we're going to output a suitable message. So we're going to do another console.writeLine. The stack for consonants is full. And we're good to go there. Now, there's another possibility that it's not full. And if it's not 100, then all we need to do is we're going to do the stack consonants. And what we're going to do is we're going to find that consonant top. That's that pointer. So there it is, equals. What are we putting inside that index of the stack? We're putting in the letter. And then all we have to do is update that pointer. So consonant top plus equals 1. And just like that, we are done with that procedure, and we just picked up 6 points. Let's take a look at the next part they want us to do. The file stackdata.txt stores 100 lowercase letters. So now it's time to use the file that Cambridge has provided you for this paper for exam, and it's called stackdata.txt. The procedure read data reads each letter from the file and uses push data, that's the procedure we just wrote, to push each letter onto its appropriate stack. So it's a vowel, it's going on to the vowel stack. If it's a consonant, it's going on to the consonant stack. Now, we already wrote code inside push data that checks to see if it's a vowel, and if it is, we check to see if the vowel stack is full. If it's not, we add it to the vowel stack and we update the pointer. We did the same thing for the consonant. So this is going to be a very, very short procedure. It does want us to use appropriate exception handling if the file does not exist, and you should always be doing that. So let's swing over to VB and let's write this short procedure. So the first thing you want to do is you want to import that system.io. Then we're going to create a variable. So we're going to do dim file handle as stream reader. Then we'll open the file, and I'm also going to do temp letter as char because I'm temporarily going to store that character from the file into temp letter and then just pass that parameter. You can do it all in one line. I would rather not. I'd rather isolate everything and make my code as easy to read. Now we need our try catch statement. What we're going to try to do is open the file. We're going to try to store in temp letter, call the parameter. If there is an error, all we're going to do here is we're going to do a console.writeLine. file not found. So that will give us a few points. Now, for the try statement, we're going to do file handle equals new system.io.stream reader, and then inside the parentheses here, we're going to do our file, which was stackdata.txt. Now, it's very important that this is spelled correctly. If you spell it incorrectly by mistake, you're always going to get the issue file not found. It's also very important that you make sure you put the text file in the right place in your program folders. And towards the end of the video, before we run our program, I'll show you where that goes. The next thing I need to do is I need to do all the way until I'm at the end of the stream, the end of the file. So what am I going to do? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do temp letter equals, I'm going to do file handle dot read line. So once it reads the line, it's going to take that letter, whatever it may be, it's going to put it inside temp letter. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to call that method that we wrote, which was called push data. What am I passing? Temp letter. Now, this is very important. Outside this loop, I need to make sure that I close the file. I don't want to do it inside my loop, because if I do it inside my loop, the loop's only going to run one time, and as soon as I open it, it's going to close it, or it's going to run forever, because it'll never get to the end of the stream. So what we want to do is we're going to do file handle dot close, and just like that, we are done with read data, and we picked up another 6 points. Let's take a look at the next part of the question. Before we move on, I'd like to clarify my last statement. I said if you put this file handle.close inside the loop, it would only run one time. That is correct, but when you do until file handle.end of stream, if you put file handle.close, if it doesn't recognize that you're at the end of the stream because you've closed the file, when it goes back up and you do file handle.end of stream, it's going to say that you can't do that because you open the file inside before you open the loop. So I just want to clarify that, but the thing you want to make sure is that you close the file outside of the loop. All right, so part C, the function pop vowel removes and returns the data at the top of stack vowel and updates the relevant pointers. The function pop consonant removes and returns the data from the top of stack consonant, updates the relevant pointers. If either stack is empty, the string no data must be returned. So we write program code to declare pop vowel and pop consonant. So let's swing over to VB and let's write these two very short functions. So I have my two functions here, pop vowel, pop consonant. The return data type is going to be a string. Now you may be saying, hold on, we have letters here, shouldn't it be char? Well, we have to return the message that there is no data in the stack if it's empty. So that, if we try to return that as a char, it's simply going to return one letter. We don't want to do that. We want to do the phrase, and we can simply do that with some return statements. Now, for the pointers, we need to make sure we're checking the pointer -1, not where the current pointer is. The reason for that is when we take a look at the value of the current pointer, such as vowel top or consonant top, that's pointing to the next free index. We're not looking to see the next free index. We want to look at the most recent item, which is the index right before it. For example, if vowel top is pointing at item 57, I know index 57 is the next free index in the stack. Nothing's there. If I don't want to check the most recent item added, I don't want to check index 57, but index 57 -1, which is index 56. So I'm going to do if vowel top. Well, I want to do vowel top -1. I want to check that value, make sure it's greater than or equal to 0. Because if it's greater than or equal to 0, then I know I have found that value. There's something there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do vowel top. I'm going to decrement that by 1, and I'm simply going to return. When am I going to return? Stack vowel. What index am I returning? Whatever vowel top is. So we're checking to see if the -1 is greater than or equal to 0. If it is, I know there's something there. So I'm going to do vowel top -1 so I can get there, and I'm going to return that vowel top. Now, if it's not greater than or equal to 0, then I'm going to return the vowel stack is empty. That's all I'm going to do. There's no data there. Now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste this inside the pop consonant because it is almost identical. Instead of val top, I'm simply going to do the consonant top. So if consonant top -1, and it looks like I spelled it incorrectly. Oh, I did with 2 N's. So there we go. -1 is greater than or equal to 0. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to decrement that consonant top minus equal 1, and then I'm going to return not the vowel, but the consonant top. And then I'm going to let them know the consonant stack is empty if it's not greater than or equal to 0. So I'm simple. Oh, and you want to get it from the right stack. So maybe copying and pasting isn't the best way to go. But if you are, to try to save time, make sure you've updated everything. I almost forgot to update the correct stack. But that's all you're going to do. We're going to save. We're going to swing back over, and we're going to keep pushing through this question. All right, the program first needs to call read data and then prompt the user to input their choice of vowel or consonant. Take as input the user's choice, easy. Depending on the user's choice, call pop vowel or pop consonant and store the return value. All right, we can do that. Now, storing the return value, looking at that phrase, the stack or the vowel stack is empty. We can shorten that if we want. So we're probably going to go down and shorten that because we don't want to check for this long phrase, because if we mistype something, that can throw us off. The 3 steps are repeated until 5 letters have been successfully returned and stored. If either stack is empty at any stage, then an appropriate message must be output. Once 5 letters have been successfully returned and stored, they are output on one line, for example, ABYTI. Write program code for the main program. So let's swing over and write inside submain to get this program working. All right, the first thing they want us to do is called read data. Then after I read that data and make sure the file is found, I'm going to create some variables. I'm going to do letters as string. That's going to hold the letters that we're going to output at the end. I also need success as Boolean, because once they have successfully chosen 5 letters, then we can output it. If they wanted to choose 10 letters, there's not 10 vowels to choose from. If we, empty a stack and we want to output 10 letters, there's not 10 vowels. So if we chose vowel every time, it's going to output not those 10 letters that we wanted. In this case, they want 5, but we still need to build that in. The next thing we need is choice. And that's going to be a string, because we need to ask them, do they want to pop a vowel or do they want to pop a consonant? And then the last thing we need is temp data as a string, because our pop methods do return a phrase. It's either going to return a letter or it's going to return a phrase, so we need a string to check for that. Now this for loop is going to run 5 times, so you can do 0 to 4 or you can do 1 to 5. Now I'm going to set up success equal to false. And the reason I'm setting it equal to false is because they haven't chose anything yet, and I want to do that inside here because I'm going to need to reset it up every time the loop runs. So I'm going to do while success is equal to false, because they haven't we haven't filled anything. We'll set it to true once that happens. So the first thing we need to do is we want to ask them, and you want to spell console correctly. You want to say, do you want a, and then vowel or consonant? That's what we're going to ask them, and then they're going to make that choice. So we're going to do choice equals console.readline. We want to account for if they try to be funny and enter all uppercase. So we're going to do choice. We're going to put success back there, and then right underneath here, we're going to do choice equals choice dot to lower. So that's what's going to happen. So if they try to be funny and enter all capital letters, we're going to go ahead and convert it to lowercase. Now we need to see if their choice was a vowel. So if choice equals all lowercase vowel, then what we have to do is we got to check that return phrase. So if the choice is a vowel, then what we're going to do is we're going to do our temp data equals, and we simply call pop vowel, because that's the choice they made. And that's either going to be a phrase or it's going to be the letter from the stack. So we're going to do if temp data rather than equals, is it A, E, I, O, U? We're going to check that it's not equal to our return phrase, which was the val stack is empty because there's nothing there to pop. So I'm going to go back up here. If it's not equal to the val stack is empty, and put quotes around that, then we know there is a letter there. There we go. Then we know there's a letter there, and I want to store that inside. Well, I already have it in temp data, because if it's not equal to the val stack is empty, then I have a letter. So I'm going to build that letters string with the temp data, whatever it is. Did I make a successful choice? Yes, I did. So success equals true. Now it'll exit out this while loop. I will iterate or increment to 2, and then we can continue. Now, if that's not the case, if it does equal the val stack is empty, then I'm simply going to say there are no vowels left to choose from. You chose all the vowels already. And once we have that, we're good. So that will handle that. Now, we still need to make sure we're inside this if statement, because there's another possibility, and that is choice equals consonant. And if that equals consonant, then what we want to do is we want to load temp data with the return value of pop consonant. And then there's a possibility. It could be if temp data does not equal, and I think it's the consonant stack is empty with an exclamation mark. It is. I'm just going to copy and paste this, because if I type it incorrectly, my program's not going to work. So we're going to do is not equal to the consonant stack is empty. Then I know I have a letter. So my letters plus equals temp data success equals true. And then else, we're going to let them know, hey, you have run out of consonants. You chose all the consonants already. I don't know why you would want to pick that many letters, but you could. Okay, so with all this done, the next thing we need to do is show you where that stackdata.txt file goes so you can actually run your program and test it. So you're going to browse wherever your file is located, your entire program, and you're going to keep double clicking these top files. You're going to go into the bin folder, the debug folder, and right here is where your stack data file goes. You're going to paste it in there. Once you've pasted it in there, you can return back to Visual Studio and you can run your program. Let's go ahead and do that now. All right, we're going to select val for all of these, getting close to the end here. And that will be 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be the 5th choice, so we should exit the loop. And it does. Oh, we didn't output the letters. All right, console.writeLine, letters. So let's make sure it outputs vowels. And then we'll take a look at the question and make sure, because they're going to tell us what they want us to enter. Maybe it'll all be vowels. And those are all vowels. So not in order, but that's okay. It has 100 letters. All right, let's swing back. Let's take a look at the last part of the question and then wrap this video up. And now it's time to test our program with the following inputs: val, consonant, consonant, val, val. So we're going to load our program, and we're going to do that. Okay, so we're going to do val. Make sure we spell it correctly. Consonant, consonant, and then vowel, vowel. Okay, so U-T-X-O-E. U is a vowel, T is a consonant, X is a consonant, O is a vowel, E is a vowel. Now what we want to do is we want to take a look at this text file and make sure that is the expected output. So we want to scroll all the way to the very end here. So here you'll see we have the stackdata.txt file, and there's 100 letters. And it's not in alphabetical order. Notice it goes A, B, D, F, G, U. So we're not going to get those letters in order, and that's why I wanted to check, because you know, if you're stacking just the vowels, it should be A, E, I, O, U, and U should be last. T is not the last consonant, though, that you would push. So when you have a stack, it's the last in, first out. So we entered a vowel. T would be the last thing on the consonant stack. I want to find the last thing on, or the most recent item that is on the vowel stack. So T is not a vowel, X isn't, S isn't, C isn't either, N, K, J, G, T, U. U is my first or most recent item on the stack. That is correct. The next item I'm looking for is a consonant. What was the very most recent item in the consonant stack? That would be T. That is the appropriate output. Then I want another consonant. Well, I've already done T, so I'm looking for the next item, which is X. Now I'm looking for the second vowel. So here I was at U, but I've already popped that item, so I'm looking for the next most recent item, which is O. Then I'm looking for another vowel. The next vowel I should encounter should be E, and it is. Hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please take a moment and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to help the channel grow, and we'll see you guys in the next programming video.